Hello, and welcome to my Gimbals Mechanic prototype. As you can already see, the main menu is a looping scenario, and we'll hit play just before we fall into the incinerator. Now the first thing that happens to the player is they'll start in this empty room with nothing to do but move forward. And as they do, they will fall for this blue platform, which will collapse immediately, teaching the player that these ones as well will probably also collapse. Now, two ways can be done about this. The player can either be cheeky and complete it in just 2 jumps if they realize how short that gap is, or they could do the entire course if they're not so confident. Moving on to the next area, the player immediately sees that there's a green circle-like button, and there's this that looks a bit dangerous and is blocking their way, along with a picture of what is a keycard, and there's also a green keycard over there. So logically, the player will want to get that to progress. So we'll jump onto this first platform, and we'll jump to the second one just in time, and we'll get our green keycard. And as the player can see, it is now in their inventory, letting them know that they do have a green keycard on them that can allow them to progress. And after repeating the jumping platforms, the player can now approach this, and it will drop the gate. And as you can see, the keycard is out of their inventory to allow the player to know that they don't need that anymore. Now progressing on, the player has once again met the problem of there's a large gap, and this way is also blocked by lasers. But as the player can see, there's a red light button over there with a wire that comes all the way over to these lasers. The player can't reach the button, so naturally they'll try the next best thing, which is shooting it. And there we go, the lasers are gone. Now the player can make their way up here in this very dark room with a window as the only source of light, and they'll see the crane in the distance, which will allow them to pick that up. And if they rotate it over, they can see that by putting it back down, they've created their own bridge to progress to the next area. Now making our way back out of here, we can now use the bridge we just created to get to the next zone. Now, this next area, the first thing the player sees is, well, a lock. They need to get past there somehow, but that is blocking the way. They'll get pushed off this platform if they try. The player is told that there are 2 scrap bots. One is trapped in rubble and you control them with F and G. Well, if we try F, that one's moving, but it can't because it's trapped. And if we try G, this one will just walk towards us. So the player once again can't reach there, so the first thing they'll try is to shoot over there, which will create a satisfying explosion of the rubble. And now that scrap bot can get there, disable those lasers, and if we tell it to move again, it'll go back to its storage, which will see disable some of the lasers, teaching the player that they need to get both scrap bots on that yellow platform. So we'll jump onto the moving platform to get across, and once we're over, the player has the problem of how do we get him across? Well, the first thing they'll try and do obviously is try and push this brown light plank down, which will collapse into a bridge, which then, by pressing G, as the player's been taught, will bring the second scrap bot over to the storage. Once it arrives, both the lasers are gone and the player can proceed. Now this one looks a bit more dangerous than the others, and it's blocking our path. So how does the player get past it? Well, there's only one thing the player can really see that stands out in this room, and once again it's something they can't reach, so they go to option 2 and shoot it. It collapses. The corrupted scrap bot will get distracted, allowing the player to run past, which creates a little bit of a chase scenario where the player has to keep moving or they will get caught out, followed by this blue platform which will collapse just after him, giving them a brief escape from the enemy. And just like that, the player has made it to the final room where they are congratulated, and they are told that they now take a brave plunge into darkness, referencing to this, which is a slow conveyor which will lead the player to the darkness, which will bring them back to the main menu, creating a loop. Now, the only thing left for me to show is the numerous ways the player can die and how it will reset the game. So this is the first one, which is obviously the lava floors, and if the player does actually fall, it will put them back to the main menu, giving them another chance to play. Second is the laser gates, which are any of these, and climbing them will indeed kill the player, resetting them. And the final one being the hostile scrap bot, which will kill the player on contact. And there we go.